Hi, I'm Karen Greenberg, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it.
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy here with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake Duffenball. With me today, as always, our co-hosts, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingo. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Great. Hi, folks. How are you? How you doing, Jake?
Doing great as always, Matt. Thank you for asking.
Yes, we had a wonderful interview for you folks. He worked on a show that you guys will definitely know about, especially you PBS Kids fans.
Absolutely.
Jake, why don't you tell everyone
Absolutely.
about who we interviewed?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris. Today's guest we have for today in this episode is the wonderful Ty Olsson. Of course, we'll touch base throughout his acting and voice acting work throughout, including one of his most notable roles as the voice of Ord on the PBS series Dragon Tales, and a lot more, and that a lot of you will definitely appreciate and love the chat very much. So let's get to it. Enjoy. See you then. Hello everyone, welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Today we have with us is the wonderful Ty Olsson. Welcome, happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise, pleasure to have you here indeed. So to kick things off, we know who you are, but for those who haven't, could you tell our audience a bit about yourself and what you do?
I'm a professional actor. Been a professional actor since 1997, and in film and television and stage, I've got nearly 200 credits, probably over 200 if you include the little tidbits over the years. And I'm a professional actor for 25 years, and some of my most notable roles are Ord in Dragon Tales and Benny in Supernatural, and many, many others.
Nice. So, what was your childhood like, and how did you grow up?
Well, I get right into it, right? I came from a very violent background. I grew up with my biological mother and a stepfather from 0 to 10, but was pulled out of that at a young age to be part of the Children's Aid Society. And so I was in foster homes and group homes from 10 to 16. And then I lived on what they call an independent program, which is still part of the Children's Aid Society, but living in my own apartment. And I've been living independently since I was 16.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
No.
Yes. So, now, did you always want to pursue acting as a career?
I didn't realize that you could make a career out of it until I was about 18. I started young. I was in school plays at about 14. I had a high school teacher that kind of forced me to audition for the high school plays. And then she later forced me to audition for the elementary school plays. And then she later forced me to audition for a high school acting program. And it wasn't until I was about 18, where all my friends were going off to post-secondary to do theater school and what have you, that I went, oh, you can actually do this for a living? And apparently you can. So
Absolutely. So now, who are some of your biggest acting influences or inspirations?
I think over the years it's probably changed. If I was looking at film actors that I admire, it'd be like Gary Oldman.
Yes.
He's a man who's always taking the chances of failure. I think good actors are not always the actors that always have great roles. Sometimes it's the actors who try a role and they fail at it. Because it's so easy to get stuck into playing it safe, and or get stuck into your thing, if you will. Like I'm a huge fan of Johnny Depp, but at the same time, I would love to see Johnny Depp play a regular human, which he hasn't done in a long time. Just with the
that'd be great.
Yeah, with normal like a love interest or somebody with like a more relatable emotional content, somebody with, because all we see from him now these days, and he's a fantastic actor, I'm not taking, but all we see are these hyper fantastic kind of over-the-top characters, which are lovely, and what a privilege it is for him to be able to play those. But I would like to see him play something that's a little bit more, that shows that he's still in touch with the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I'm a fan of any actor that takes chances and loves what they do, and I'm somebody who looks at moments rather than the big picture of things, particularly in film and television. You can only be responsible for your individual moments. The editor gets to it, the director gets to it, the writing. It's like, so focusing on just trying to make as many magic moments as you can is I think the trick to longevity. Who else would I like? Oh, there's lots. I mean, Meryl Streep obviously is just mind blowing.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Nice.
There's a lot of them out there. I'm a bit picky, but there's a lot of them out there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, do you remember your first professional acting gig?
Yeah, my very first professional acting gig was an understudy at the Shaw Festival for a season, the '97 season, and I played 12 understudies in the Shaw Festival.
Oh wow!
The Shaw Festival specializes in George Bernard Shaw and all his contemporaries. Mm-hmm. So I understudied 12 different roles that year. But my first film and television gig was a young orderly in season 5 of X-Files.
Oh, nice! Wow.
And it was a cool little role too. He kind of gets mind trapped by the pusher, and they find him in the cell the next day, banging his head on the wall, saying he had to go. Yeah. So it was kind of cool. My first film and television gig was the X-Files, so it's kind of a interesting little note.
Nice.
Very interesting. Long running, certainly lasted for a while.
It did. Yeah.
Great show. So you also acted in the comedy horror film Lake Placid, directed by David Kelly. What was working on that like?
It was good. It's kind of cool to say I worked with Betty White because she was in it. And
rest her soul.
Rest her soul. Absolutely, rest her soul.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool, especially as I get up in the years now, and people, sadly are passing on. It's kind of cool to be able to say, "Oh, I worked with that person. I worked with that person. So I had, right. I remember being on set the day that she was feeding the alligator or the crocodile or whatever it was, and just kind of going, "Oh, that's Betty White. Oh, yeah, it's one of the Golden Girls."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I've had a little scene with Harrison Ford. I've had some great scenes with Vin Diesel. I've had I've worked extensively with Woody Harrelson and many others, and I'm very privileged. Been very privileged.
That's awesome. So now, as a voice actor, of course, you're best known for voicing the character Ord in the PBS Kids series Dragon Tales. Can you kind of talk about the audition process for that role and kind of what working on that show was like for you?
Well, we have to first remember we're going back 20 years, 25 years. It's the anniversary of Dragon Tales this year, apparently.
Yeah.
25
so
years.
Crazy.
25 years.
Like before a couple of you were born, I think.
A year before Matt and I were born.
Yeah.
Year before.
And me, I was born in 2004, so
yeah.
So it was already when show was already existed.
Yeah. So what was cool about that? The audition process was, I think, pretty lengthy, and they had to work. I think they knew it was going to be a long running series, so they wanted to be very careful to make sure that they got the people they wanted. And Ord's so lovable, but I had to be very careful to not make him, to not make him special needs, if you will, because he could easily slip into a character which actually might have been very fitting in this day and age, if Ord was more autistic. Perhaps he is, who knows, but he was, we wanted to be careful that we weren't that his badge always shone, that he was somebody who was lovable and giving and caring, but had fears but obstacles that he overcame. So we took a lot of care to make sure that he always came across in a positive way, and that because we knew that he was beloved by people, and we knew that it was important that people were able to just connect with him. So we did 94 episodes, which was cool because with some of the people that played the dragons were like Cassie and Max, and there were some young kids, so that we got to watch them grow up too over the span of 4 or 5 years, right? So so that was very interesting to work with kids and be able to see them grow, just as at the same time as I was having young kids as well. And so
That's awesome. Yeah, Dragon Tales is a wonderful show.
That's so lovely. I mean, so it's so great how like you mentioned about like how people can know more about how Ord was. And where he was like, there are times where episodes where, which of course we'll talk about that in a bit, but like there are times where like Ord gets so like, oh, I don't know what to do, but he still like achieve it, and it's just like in a way that like that other characters like, we got you, Ord, and I think that's a great character to have, Ord to have that way for the show,
and there was never
makes him special in a way.
And there was no like we didn't let any of the characters have shame for their difficulties, for their struggles. It was okay to struggle. It was okay to have our time. It was okay to be afraid of the dark.
Yeah, it's become more like diverse in a way.
Yeah. And I think it was okay for people to see the world differently, and I think probably if we were to look at it from today's kind of point of view, or it might be the slightly autistic scale kind of on the spectrum, because everybody, we're learning now that everybody's on a spectrum of something. So the idea that everybody learns differently, that everybody sees the world a little bit differently, and everybody has their own unique strengths and skills. And I think Ord in a lot of ways exemplified that kind of being an individual.
Right.
Yeah. Or it's such a wonderful dragon to have in the show, of course. So now, since I kind of mentioned about how episodes and all with Ord and all that, it might be kind of a difficult question to answer because there's so many. But do you have like any favorite Dragon Tales episodes?
Oh, again, so long ago, it's hard to say. I mean, I always like the ones that were Ord focused, obviously, like ones where the story was a little bit more about him and overcoming his fear of the dark, or making his
on the Force of Darkness.
Force of the Dark.
Yeah.
So the one, I'm a typical actor that I like things to be about me. So episodes where Ord was the lead for the lead storyline for that day are the ones that were obviously the ones I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, one episode that kind of comes to mind for me was the episode No Hitter, where they're playing baseball and Max kind of gets frustrated.
Oh, it was kickball. Actually, it was kickball.
Oh yeah,
it was kickball.
Yeah. And then Max heard like Ord's tail by like just kicking from frustration or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then like Pigments of Your Imagination, where it's like where Ord like have like allergies from
the dandelions.
Yeah,
because they were trying to make presents for Mother's Day, and Ord sneezes and all the colors spill, so they have to go to the Rainbow Canyon to find more colors.
Oh yeah. Well, these things happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Up and Away.
Yeah.
Where like he was like inside of the bubble.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have probably seen it more recently than I have. 94 episodes is a lot to take in. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And what a great wholesome cartoon. Like, I remember at the same time, like things like Caillou was out, and Caillou was such a
gosh,
brat.
Caillou's a great show too.
Yeah,
it is a good show, but Caillou's a little brat.
Yeah,
I know, especially early on.
Where so many people just don't like Caillou in that time frame because how whiny he is, but later on the show it kind of
they kind of changed it so he wasn't as whiny and things like that.
Yeah, well, because the problem is I was a young parent at the time, and I was like, somebody do something about this kid. Like,
Right?
like,
Right.
Yeah.
The difference, like at one point, I think didn't he bite his sister?
Yes.
Yeah,
And they
something
were
like that. Yeah.
You don't bite, and we're like, he bit his sister. Like punish him somehow. Like you've got to do
Discipline
something.
Yeah,
him.
I know.
Which is the difference with like Dragon Tales. People did things
I
by
think that episode was literally
Yeah.
like one of those episodes that got banned or something.
Oh, I wouldn't be
Yeah, when
surprised.
Caillou made its way to
Not be
PBS, I think
surprised.
that was the only episode that they didn't show,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
which
It's like,
makes
no,
sense.
we're not.
I mean,
We're not showing little feral kids on this.
yeah.
And,
Yes.
and the problem was like, and so exactly what you said about Dragon Tales. Like, Ord makes a mistake. He sneezes. He blows the colors away. People are upset, but they all go, "Hey, accidents happen. How can we fix this?" Now they together go on this adventure to fix the problem. Whereas opposed to where Kaya would be like, he bites his sister, and people go, "You don't bite," and he bites again, and you're like, "No, Caillou, there's nothing done."
Exactly.
And
yeah.
and a couple ones are actually more with Ord. Ord's Happy Birthday.
Okay.
Oh, I
And the
forgot
Ord
about
sees the light
that
up.
one.
Yeah, Ord sees the lights. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Those.
good ones.
Poor
So-
Ord.
Poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be in more, so.
Yeah, so-
More for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a
Exactly.
time that Ord actually got to sing a song for a promo on PBS Kids, which is called the Ask for Help.
Oh my God. I remember that, but here's the thing about me and singing. I think I've gotten maybe a little bit better over the years, but I'm so terrible. They would have to sing me a line, and I would say the line. They'd go
Right.
like, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday." I'd have to mimic because my ear is so terrible. I'd have to actually literally do one at a time with them.
So,
Hmm.
so I know you just did a little bit of it, but is it fine if we can hear a little bit of Ord?
Yeah, you can. And I'll tell you, I've just recently decided, like on Cameo and stuff, that I don't do requests for Ord's voice anymore. I will do it for you guys because the podcast is a special circumstance. But
Yeah.
because I feel like him and Benny, there's been a part of me that feels like you almost dishonor it if people can just ask you to do it at the drop of a hat. Do you know what I
that's
mean?
fair.
Like,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can
So,
see that.
I'll do it for you guys, but I'm just throwing it out to your listeners that I have stopped doing it on request. I mean, if I'm doing a cameo for a sick kid, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to get to a jaded place where I feel like I'm a dancing monkey, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but for
Right.
you gentlemen, since you actually have a whole kind of show designated to this, let me see if I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my face off though. Hold on.
Okay.
Hi guys, this is Ord. I like dragonberries. I like dragonberry cake and dragonberry ice cream and dragonberry muffins. But I don't like the dark. I'm afraid of the dark. But sometimes when I'm real brave, my dragon badge, it shines.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God, that's so
That's
that's great.
That's wonderful.
The
Tell us a
problem
story
Hi-
about
hi-
that. That kind of
Hi,
thing.
Ord.
Hi, buddy.
Tell a story about that kind of thing. It's so common on our show now. Like back 2 years ago, we had Cheryl Blaylock on. She's a dear
Yeah.
good friend of ours. When
Dude, this is great.
most of you, if you folks don't know, most of you 80s, 90s kids remember a little show called Eureka's Castle on Nickelodeon. She was Eureka, and when we asked her to do Eureka's voice, she was like, "Well, when kids would ask me to do it, I would ask them to close their eyes."
Yeah.
So that's
Which
so
makes
that's
sense.
kind of-
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
kind of ruin the illusion.
Yeah,
for
well,
them.
that's exactly it. I don't like people watching me because the face will distract from the voice because my face does weird things when I do it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Yes.
You just
I
focus
get-
on my
I get
weird
it.
face as opposed to, hello?
Oh.
Hello? Oh, yeah. I don't want people distracted by the weird expressions on my face as opposed to the voice itself.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
I want to ask, how's Dragonland been going down there, Ward?
It's been good. He's a bit lonely. He misses Max. Max grew up, I think.
Yeah, they all did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all grew up. All the kids grew up. You know, it's funny when I was first doing it, first few seasons, and I'd be at like an industry party or something, and I'd get like you're drinking a beer or smoking a cigarette, and you feel this tug on your jacket and going, excuse me, mister, are you Ord? And you're like, just, you know.
Oh, that's funny.
I know. I mean,
Oh, wow. That's
Oh,
wild.
that's great.
and then what would happen? And I'm 50 now, but like in my 30s or something, I would
Right.
get like really attractive 20-somethings come up and be like, "Hey, you played Ord. You were my childhood," and I'm like, "And you just ruined my day."
Oh, wow.
I mean, like,
Oh, that's great. That's
Wow.
like when a
something.
hot 25-year-old comes up and goes, "You remind me of my childhood," it just does nothing but make you feel ancient.
I know. Right. Yeah.
In that case, yes.
Yeah.
I can
Wonderful.
totally see.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so a little more serious here for a moment. In 2021, we sadly lost one of the co-creators of Dragon Tales, Ron Rodecker. What was it like working with him?
Oh, geez, you know what? It's so long ago. I mean, it was wonderful working with everybody. There was so many though that I even have to like try to remember which one Ron was. Was Ron which one was Ron?
He was one of the co-creators. I think he had glasses. I've seen it because I'm looking at pictures of him. I think he had glasses, and I think he was like mostly bald.
Um, yeah. I mean, everybody was lovely. They were used to, we were working with kids, so
Oh, yeah?
everybody was soft. Do you know what I mean? Which is lovely.
Mhm.
It was none of that like harshness that you get with film and television, where it's like go go go. Everything was kind of sweet and calm and lovely, and because we had kids in the cast, and also I think these guys were just used to like what a privilege it is to do this for a living, and so it was the whole gang was lovely to work with. I'm trying to remember the director's name. Gray hair, short. It was like a Dave or a Doug or something. Anyways, um, our main director through the whole thing too was they were all so lovely. They really were. And when did he pass? 22? Is that what you said?
Ron Rodecker. He passed away January of 2021.
Oh shit. Well, I mean that's the problem when 25 years after, right? When people
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I could imagine seeing the kid who played Max now. It's got to be 35-year-old man. He's probably 35, close to 40.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then imagine like some people like, wait, what? Why? And then, or like people like, or he what he is now, like, oh, I actually did that show of Dragon Tales. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell probably there's gonna be some reactions that he probably still even have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He even mentioned himself. I mean, for what Juan and the rest of the creative team, like kind of like how what the show is kind of developed. I think that's how the show came to be. It's
Yeah, and the writing on that show was
great.
phenomenal.
It really was. It really was.
And the music too.
Yeah.
So gentle.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So great.
So moving on from Dragon Tales, you acted in the A&D film Flight 93 as
Yes.
Mark Bingham. What was working on that like?
Well, that in itself was a unique experience that I don't know that I'll ever have again. I was playing a contemporary historic figure. What I mean by that is I was playing somebody that was alive in my lifetime who was of similar age, but had become a historic figure due to the events of 9/11. And it's so weird. It's like if you're playing Napoleon, you weren't there at the time, so everything you're basing everything on what's written in history. Do you know what I mean? Things that have been, first of all, Napoleon was a famous historical character, so that person is that person is somebody that you can pull up all this history about, this writing about. Mark was a regular guy who wasn't a historical figure until that event happened. So there wasn't much to pull on, but I was also keenly aware that his family was still alive. So, you want to do a good job, but there's nothing to work on. I wasn't allowed to contact the family. I didn't have any pictures really of him, or other than what I could read on the internet that have been posted since 9/11. There's not really much to do in the way of research. But what an honor to play that group, be part of that group of people. It was the most, I think to this day, it's the most watched show A&E ever had. And I got to meet his mom, which was a privilege. And I hope she's doing well, and I hope she's alive, and I hope life has been kinder to her since she lost her son. Yeah, so it was an interesting experience playing somebody a contemporary historic figure, because you don't have any research. There's nothing to research on. I'm sure I wasn't a very good reenactment of him, but I hope I was a good reenactment of the honor and the bravery that was him. So
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So now, one of your other best-known voiceover roles was voicing Troll Moko, if I said pronounced, but I probably most likely I did, and Packages from Planet X.
Oh yeah,
Packages from Planet X. What was doing that like?
Packages from Planet X was fun. Yeah, it's fun. It was a Canadian project, and yeah, all grown-ups, it was fun, and we had a great time. There was a sling of time at that time. I was doing a bunch of stuff. Harry from Clash of the Titans, and Packages from Planet X, and I got the privilege of working with some of the best voice actors in the world. I do all right. I'm a great actor, but my voice is not as flexible as some of theirs. And the work that just being in the same room as those people are like, yes, there we go. Just the talent, the level of talent and flexibility, just blow your mind. Yeah, really good, really good.
Nice.
Awesome. So you brought this up earlier. You're probably also best known for playing Benny in Supernatural.
Yes.
How did you land that role?
Well, it's interesting. I was just a straight up audition, but was it when they gave me the audition piece? I said, do they remember that I played another character in season 2 already? Because usually they don't reuse you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the diehard fans know now, but you gentlemen might not know. I played another character by the name of Eli in season 2, and who was also a vampire that was, for lack of a better description, vegetarian as well. Didn't eat people, didn't feed on people. So when the audition came in, I was like, do they remember that I was already on the show? And they're like, yeah, they don't seem to care. So the great thing about being in a smaller community and having a long-running show is that they run out of actors. So by season 8, they were like, forget it. We bring them in again. Nobody will remember. It's been 6 years since that happened. So yeah, I was lucky enough to the audition piece was so fantastic. It was a monologue about about his dad making him kill the dog with a hatchet in the yard.
Oh wow!
It was a really messed up monologue, but also very good at the same time. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, and the writing was so good there. Like, people ask me about the accent. The accent was written in so well, I didn't even have to work at it. It was there.
Oh, gotcha.
And which is another reason. Like, people ask me to do the Benny, I'm like, I do it well when it's written for me, but I'm not. I just feel like I bastardize it every time I do it now. So
right,
makes
sense.
No worries at all.
So, what was it like playing Nico in the 100?
Another great role. Tough because it was 3 hours of hair and makeup, and then it never really stopped because we shoot in Vancouver, which is always rainy. You're outside all the time, so any bit of rain, and they had to retouch the wig and retouch the beard. The beard was about 5 pounds. The wig was about 10 pounds. I left every day with a pounding headache, but I really loved the script, and I loved the world, and I loved the cast and crew as well. and it looked great. It was a lot of work for not a lot of screen time. And I think part of the problem was that they wrote the character for Lincoln. And so when Lincoln's character moved on, and when Ricky Whittle went to another show, I don't think they knew what to do with Nico. But again, a privilege to play. And I brought him in with such a thick accent, and realized when I got there that I was the only character with an accent. And I had to kind of because I read it that way, that he sounded like English was almost a second language, which it was, because Grounder was his first language. So it was interesting. He was a loner character in the end. I always had this idea that he was the healer, but that because you know how they would they'd have scars from their dead, how many people they killed, the characters. I always imagined that if you took off Nico's jacket, you find that he's covered in kill scars, and that he killed so many people that he just had an epiphany one day of being sick of it and became a healer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was a cool little backstory, that he had literally just hit his quota and said, I don't want to take another human life. I've killed too many. And so became this healer.
Gotcha. So now, one of your most recent roles was voicing Bomb in Angry Birds Summer Madness.
Yeah.
What was it? Can you kind of talk a little bit about that? And what was
yeah,
like
well, everybody's
part of an Angry Birds, type of thing?
Everybody's familiar with the Angry Birds, so that was a fun thing to do, and they did a good job turning it into a viable cartoon, I thought. And Baum is this kind of like lovable, shy. He's not that dissimilar to Ord. He's lovable and shy, and has a crush on I think it's Miranda. And so every time he gets excited, he gets nervous, he explodes. So it was more, his character was a bit more of like an anxiety. His explosion was an anxiety thing. So he get all excited, and blow up. I thought they did a good job bringing that to the screen and turning it from a game into a cartoon. I thought they did well. And Bomb was a lot of fun to play. Yeah, just character that's so excited and so nervous and anxious. I have a friend, a very close friend, who does this thing when he's excited. He does this like, and he's like Bomb. He's like, gets so excited. I'm like, yeah, that's how Bomb does it. He gets so excited he can't hold on, bang,
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's awesome.
That's interesting. So, more recently, you played Colonial Nathan Dudley in the second season of Billy the Kid, set in the American West 19th century. People,
yeah.
What is working on that like? Because it's really terrific.
Let me tell you. So, congratulations to that cast and crew. They just got picked up, I heard, for another season.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So Dudley. So it's the story is Billy the Kid, and Dudley was a historic figure that was involved during that time in the Lincoln Wars, and it's funny because he even historically he kind of mismanaged it and did a poor job kind of handling the situation. Probably was responsible for a lot more deaths than was necessary. He was actually also historically brought up on what's the word I'm looking for? Not treason. Court-martialed. He was court-martialed for being drunk. So this historic figure that was like he never got kicked out of the army, but he was chastised quite a few times and kind of screwed a few things up. And but it was really cool. I mean, first of all, like I said, congratulations cast and crew of Billy the Kid. It shoots in Calgary. We shot in the winter in my episodes, and but it's just historically so accurate, so beautiful. The clothing, the boots, the hats, the swords, the guns, the town. It's just so historically accurate. So easy to get in character when you have that much to help you. It's always tricky going onto a show where people have been there for a long time because because they're in the groove of things. But the one of the friendliest casts I have ever been privileged to work with. They're so good, so lovely. I don't suppose my character will come back, but boy, I would go back in a heartbeat. I'm gonna try to lose a bunch of weight and maybe see if I can squeeze back on as a different character. I look terrible in the role, but it's perfect for the role. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I do it, but I'm like, I look terrible, but I look like a big drunkard from the Civil War era. Like, I look great. Giant handlebar mustache. Hair looks super gray, even though I didn't gray it. My hair looks super gray for some reason. I'm pudgy. I'm wearing the suit that kind of goes like this, so I look overweight, and it looks great. I look fantastic. Yeah, it's good. It was really good. I had a great time, and they've got an international cast. They're guys from all over the place, so it was good to work with them all. Really,
Nice.
really much. Yeah. And I hope at the very least, if I don't get to go back on that show, I'd love to go back to Calgary at a time when they're shooting, and maybe we'll just go and hang out and play some pool with them and say hello to everybody again. They were just so welcoming.
Nice.
They of all the shows that deserve a pickup, they certainly did.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And looking forward to what's coming up. We just hopefully that will happen. Just would be, of course, would be great. So of course we'll be kind of starting to wrap things up soon. Can you share any projects you're currently working on, at least that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, well, it's always about what you're allowed to talk about. The bastards keep everything so tight-lipped these days. I am doing a video game in Montreal that I'm not allowed to talk about, but I'm super excited about.
Nice.
Yeah, it's an RPG game, and I think now that we're in this world where we can do things like Baldur's Gate, the new Baldur's Gate's incredible, and do RPG, like really properly do RPG on a PlayStation and stuff like that. I think I'm excited to see how this turns out. We started shooting last year. I do the motion cap and the voice, so
nice.
the characters are integrated. I'm excited to go back and do some more, and hopefully it turns out well. I'm not sure when. These things take a long time. Video games take forever, but
yeah.
I've got. It's funny. I've done, talking about my credits earlier. It's like I've done, I think, Need for Speed and or Grand Theft Auto, like a bunch of smaller characters that never got credited because they were so tight-lipped. And then I'm like, I didn't even know officially what it was when I was doing it because they don't tell you what it is. But then you also never get the credit for it.
Right.
It's such the industry is so bizarre that way. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing that. I have some interest about a movie. We'll see how that goes. The industry is very bizarre right now. It's going through some growing pains. I think it's doing some shifting and growing and changing. There's so many platforms now, the streaming platforms. I think they're trying to figure out how to maximize money and how to make sense of it. So this year's been a tough year for a lot of people. There's been a lot of strikes, and there's been a lot of labor disputes, and there's been commercial disputes, and it's been a tough time for the film industry.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But of course, we're looking forward to what's coming up next, whenever that's
Thank you so much, Jake.
Been working on, so.
Thank you, Jake.
Yeah. So this last question that Chris is about to ask, we ask all of our guests at the end. Go ahead, Chris.
Glad to, Matt. Thank you. Of course, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or how would you define nostalgia? Like, what does nostalgia mean to you?
Nostalgia is the recollection of a simpler time in somebody's life. It doesn't necessarily mean a better time, but a simpler time. And so often we think about things from our childhood, because our childhood was a time before taxes and before schoolwork and deadlines and bills. And so we think of times that, like the Saturday morning cartoons before school, eating our sugary cereal or toasted jam. And for me, I remember times because it was like there was no parents there. They had gone to work, but I had 45 minutes before I had to go to school. And so it was time to myself to watch Astro Boy or Mr. Gadget. And like, eat cereal and like get lost in that world and before my school day started. And so I think nostalgia is about reflecting on a simpler time, both the simpler time in our lives and the world in itself as well. And I think reflecting on things that were core memories in our life.
Definitely great words to end on.
Thank you so much.
Well, Ty, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a blast.
Thank you, gentlemen. My pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry able to make it happen.
Yes,
All
enjoy the rest
best
of your
to you,
day.
and let me know when I
You
can
too, Ty. Thank you so
advertise
much.
for you. I'll throw an advertisement out on my Twitter or something when you guys are going to air. Okay?
Sure.
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Of
much.
course.
Guys. All the best. Sorry I was
Thank
late.
you.
My apologies.
You as well. No worries.
No worries at all.
No worries.
No worries
You're
at
good.
all. Enjoy the
Thanks
rest of your
again.
day.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Of
Thank
course, you
you.
too. Take care, Ty. Bye.
It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with the wonderful Ty Olsson. Links to his social media and his Cameo will be in the description down below for anyone who wants to connect with him, check out his work, or request a shout
Or
out.
as Ord or any other things he's done throughout his career and so on, so on.
Yes, it's goodbye from us as well. Keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
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 Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.